Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So our next video is from Charlie Chion, and he says, "What are we doing to white people?" You need to even ask yourself that question. What are you doing to? Yes, you looking at me. What are you doing to white people? Yes, what are you doing to them? Hmm? Let's check this video out.
Let's talk about what we're doing to white people. There's been something going on for a while now that we're being told not to notice. More to the point, that we're asking white people not only to ignore, but to accept. The rising tide of racial hatred against white people. In the past decade, there has been a noticeable cultural shift in what constitutes acceptable speech as it relates to white people. Back when I was a kid, in the early 2000s, the mainstream American culture preached about respecting each other's differences and not seeing color. Nowadays, we say that not seeing color is racism, that you must see color. But the more I see how things are unfolding, the more I'm convinced that this is wrong. Back then, saying something offhanded about white people were seen as not appropriate, just as it would be to say something offhanded about people of any other race. But that soon gave way to our current times, in which there exists virtually no limit to what racial minorities can and do say about white people. I believe this is the natural outgrowth of a perverse ideology that teaches us that everything, every societal ill, is the fault of white people, and that whatever prejudice acts we may inflict upon them does not constitute discrimination because we don't have the power to discriminate. And alarmingly, this is particularly pronounced in the younger generation. But is it true? Do we not have the power to discriminate? Well, let's see. First, let's take a look at the racial hatred at the interpersonal level. In today's society, it has become somewhat fashionable to think things and say things about and to white people that would not be acceptable if it was said about any other race. And we're being taught that this double standard is not wrong, that it is rather a form of empowerment. They'll attribute negative experiences that they've had with white people to their whiteness. You had an argument in line at the grocery store with a white person? They were acting entitled because they were white. A white driver cut you off when you were driving? They need to check their white privilege. Your actions, your conduct, and your existence, in other words, boil down to your whiteness. And ashamedly, at one point in time, this was how I used to think as well. And beyond the people in my circle, I noticed that many people of color have this sort of blasé attitude, an attitude most particularly pronounced when there are no other white people around. Things are being said not just behind closed doors, but out in the open, not just between close friends, but between complete strangers. So here's the thing. This is something that I've experienced countless times, so I know that there are other people who are experiencing it too. I know it must resonate with at least some of you. The difficulty here is that no matter how many anecdotes I share, they are just that, anecdotes. And people who refuse to believe that this is happening will just chalk it up to my experiences being a fluke. Or worse yet, they'll say I'm lying. So I've compiled some TikTok videos. I want you to take a look.
See, and guys, those who doesn't learn from history are bound, to repeat it. I'm telling you.
Take a look at what is stunningly in vogue in today's society and ask yourselves, where does this lead to years down the line?
You have a token white and you're hanging out with your friend group of color, you need to ask permission from everybody in the group to bring your white friend. Like, don't just bring them. I might not be in the mood to deal with white shenanigans that day. That's all I'm saying. And another thing, it feeds into their ego. Like, don't let them think they're a good white person.
Accomplices ask, how can they support Black and Indigenous people of color? And sometimes I really don't know what to say, but here's one easy way. Just don't have babies.
Can single-handedly cause the white genocide that they are so afraid of. With 2.25 billion Asian women and half a billion white men, baby, it'll only take 2 generations. In 2 generations, there will no longer be any blonde-haired.
These are some things I noticed about white American culture. Being grounded is a punishment to them. That's what they call punishment. The least grounded, least balanced, most destructive race considers being grounded a punishment? Yeah. They also say really violent phrases. They say things like, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Why do we have to kill the birds? Why is everything so violent? It's almost like one's language and phrases reflects one's nature.
So that new Jeffrey Dahmer movie on Netflix is the perfect example of the sensationalization of white violence. People have a much easier time sympathizing with white criminals than they do with Black victims. People think these shows are harmless, but they actually contribute to a much bigger issue. It contributes to the viewpoint that white people are less violent than everyone else, and white violence is something to be consumed in media. That's with Caucasian people and like their inability to like read a fucking room. Like y'all act like you don't understand shit because y'all be the first ones during a conversation about the Holocaust to get so mad when black people be like, you do realize that the original Jewish people were black, right? White people do not need to explain to anybody about us all bleeding red because, baby, you all are the people that need to learn that lesson. Clearly, history shows that you all are the people that like to pillage and eradicate, enslave and oppress, attempt to suppress greatness because you all simply don't have it.
Right? Here go y'all cum goblins who don't even live in the fucking city. Which, by the way, the Q-tip people are the last ones to ever talk about somebody stealing anything. Y'all wouldn't be in this country had it not been for y'all stealing it. So y'all are more focused on people looting and trying to get necessities and things that they need. And yes, a TV is a fucking necessity. Thank you. But you feel like you're better than because people are out here stealing and you would never. First of all, if you are a Mayo monster, that is how your ancestors got everything, from stealing. People are.
And that's a behavior that's very common among white women. You may have not intended that, but there are many white women who act exactly like you.
If you can find it in your heart this holiday season to donate to the Discriminated White Fund, you'd be helping millions.
Who says high protein like cicadas and cheese? Make sure you.
And nothing says caucasity like that right there.
What caucasity looks like. Roaming Asian grocery stores like it's an amusement park.
Explain to me why white people don't wear shoes outdoor, but wear shoes inside.
We're both white women. We are inherently a danger in spaces for Black, Indigenous, and other people of color simply by existing.
It's white cis men who are a part of the far right-wing ideology of fascism. That is a true threat and the terrorism to this country.
If BIPOC stand in the street and scream at the top of their lungs, I hate all white people, I want all white people to go die, die white devil, you cracker bitch, that's still not racism.
You're not one of the good white people. Stop separating us from the bad white people. Don't sit out there in comments and say, we don't claim them. We are them. We are the ones shooting up schools. We are the ones raping people, the ones enslaving people.
And I'll say it. I hate being white. Which means I'm one of the good ones.
All white people are inherently racist.
Yeah.
Can you be racist against white people?
Based off of the definition of racism, yes, but it's not gonna hurt them and hurt their opportunities like it does people of color.
While technically you can, it's not like an issue.
You can't oppress the oppressor.
It helps you sleep at night. I'm racist to white people and I'm proud of it.
Why do people not understand that you can't be racist to white people? It's impossible. The system is not set up that way. You can insult white people, but it is not racism. Me calling a white person a tub of mayonnaise and a like flower looking ass, that's not racist.
You went all the way to Africa to physically take Black people from their homes, shove them in on boats where a lot of them got diseases and died, tell them where they could sit on a bus, tell them which schools they could go to, which water fountains they could use, which bathrooms they could use, and that's sugarcoating it. Those are just terms. I'm not even describing all the disgusting things that happen, and they don't even want revenge. They are letting you guys skate by asking for equal rights. That's it? And you're still saying no? They are not as angry as they should be. Y'all are getting off easy, and you're still saying no? Fuck you.
Some people look at that and chalk it up to the grumblings of the powerless. That's the idea that when you have a power disparity, the less powerful sort of has this general society given leeway to complain about the more powerful. The villagers complaining about their king doesn't have the same ring as the king making snide and crude comments about the villagers. But that's not what's going on here. Because
see, guys, like, I don't know. Hey, they just want people to. They just want to separate people in group identities, to fight with each other, not paying attention to one's grabbing power in politics and in wealth. Yeah,
that's really correct. We have a mainstream culture that tells us it's okay to hold prejudice and hateful views of white people, and our politics is then infused with this energy, and we see active, overt and on the books racial discrimination of white people that those who are perpetuating this hatred is refusing to see as discrimination. They'll say, no, 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 this is remediation. These are the same people who are making tenuous arguments that some of our race-neutral laws discriminate against people of color. And this is certainly evidence that in one side of the political aisle, people of color have more power than white people. Because if we didn't have the power, we wouldn't be able to put into place practices and policies that does this. That's what power is. Things like Minneapolis local government agreeing to a contract with the teachers union that says white teachers must be fired first. New York City's government enacting a policy of having white seniors go to the back of the line on life-saving COVID treatment. A college professor that says white people should be killed and facing no repercussions. Cornell University banning white people from rock climbing lessons. One of many, many, many instances of liberal colleges doing the utmost to exclude and ostracize white students. BIPOC only events equal no whites, but they don't have the guts to say that, even though that is what that is. That's what makes us different than the mere grumblings of the common villager. The villagers have surrounded the palace, demanding Marie Antoinette's head. The power dynamics have shifted. That is a fact. Progressive media outlets do not cover these stories. Some people out there have no idea that this is going on. But worse, some others out there know but agree with what's going on. And for those people to convince themselves that this is not racial discrimination, they play mind tricks and word games. They use phrases and talking points like punching up. You can't be racist to white people. You can't oppress the oppressor, meaning I'm acting oppressively, but I've designated you as the oppressor, so everything goes. Or Ibram X. Kendi's infamous words, the only way to remedy past discrimination is current discrimination. Or when people say things like, what we're doing to white people is not racism because racism is prejudice plus power and we don't have the power. They use all this mind-bending apparatus to delude themselves into believing what they're doing faces no moral conduct. But in the back of their minds, perhaps in their subconscious minds, is racial revenge. We experienced it, you experienced it too. See how you like it. That people of color are using our newfound power to act this way and then pretend like none of this is going on leads me to believe that we would have done the same thing that white people did were we to be in their historical position. Because such acts have its roots in human nature, not white people nature. And one can only imagine what might happen in the coming decades when the demographics of the US will have shifted such that white people will no longer constitute the majority, when the younger generation you've just seen have graduated from elite schools and hold positions of power in our institutions, our government, corporations, entertainment, news media, and so forth, how they might, in wielding the levers of society, be able to rationalize, using their adult brain, the hatred that was embedded in their minds during their adolescence. What we're seeing is just the beginning. To the white people who are watching, I just want to say, you are not an oppressor for refusing to accept an ideology that teaches people to hate you, that teaches you that you are inherently bad, that your children are inherently bad, that you are inherently racist no matter what you do or how you think, that you need to repent by taking affirmative steps in your life to redress harms that your ancestors may have done, or the racist actions of other white people. In fact, you are not an oppressor, period. You did not choose to be born white, just like any of us did not choose to be born in our race. And to ask of you, at the individual level, for example, to give your life in service of people of color, to be used as physical barriers at protests, to give away your house to black people instead of your children, all actual things that have been publicly demanded of white people, to ask this of you is morally reprehensible collective punishment. You are not under any obligation to carry yourself in any sort of way that others demand of you just because of the color of your skin. This, you need to do this, and you need to do that because you benefit from privilege thing is bogus. It is just a way for people harboring racial animus to attack you, to say that the accomplishments you've achieved in your life isn't yours, and to silence you.
Yes.
It is not you. It is this ideology that is wrong and perverse. It is one cloaked in a shroud of pseudo-justice and self-righteousness, all the while excreting toxic fumes of racial hatred. It blames all white people for the actions of their ancestors, something you have no control over, while absolving black people of personal responsibility for their own individual actions by holding that black people commit acts of harm, for example, towards another community. That's the fault of white supremacy. White people are controlling them like puppets on a string. It's a backwards, transgressive ideology. If you don't harbor any hate in your heart but want to fight it as a matter of principle, this does not make you racist or bigoted. If you refuse to accept their premise in your head, but are too afraid to voice your opinion, you're neither a coward nor a bad person. If you're of a liberal bent, but there's a small corner in your brain telling you as you're watching this video that perhaps some of this is wrong, listen to your intuition. Maybe you think, oh, I agree with most of what the progressive left teaches about racial justice, but just not with some of this disagreeable stuff, only at the extremes. I'm here to tell you that the rot starts at the core. This racial hatred of white people is a natural outgrowth, part and parcel of an ideology that attempts to indoctrinate us into believing that there is current systemic oppression going on, that all racial disparities we see today is the sole result of oppression by white people, when there are other more plausible explanations to be had that these same people are silencing as impermissible hate speech. They're telling you, shut up. You'll take it, and you'll like it. But contrary to what they're saying, you don't have to take that. You can believe that the things that have been done in the past were morally wrong, as well you should, all the while believing that what is currently going on is also wrong, that we're going backwards, that this is history rhyming with itself. The table is turning in an eye for an eye manner. As the great Mahatma Gandhi once said, an eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind. But those driven by hatred would sooner gouge everyone's eyes out than realize that true victory for people of color would have been having history record that when the power dynamics shifted, we treated white people with a kindness that their forefathers may not have shown our forefathers. But now, it will say when we gained the power, we turned around and started doing some of the same stuff to white people. Segregation, social ostracization, hatred sanctioned by government and law. And we're doing all of this while pretending like we're doing something valiant. We've missed our bus. But that doesn't mean that there can't be a course correction. So, to some people of color watching who are engaging in this sort of hatred, whether or not you're acutely aware, the same people that act like white people as a collective are not people, but rather some pernicious alien force that has come to invade the earth. With this video, I implore you to ask yourself, what are we doing to white people? As some people love to say, do better.
Wow. This video is unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. Honestly, guys, did you see the horrible things that was coming out of these people's mouths in this video? Did you see? The other one was, I hate being white. Like, seriously, you don't get to choose where you are. You don't get to choose to be white. Same with us black. We didn't choose to be black. We didn't choose to be of color. We didn't choose to be from different race. We didn't choose to be from different cultures. So why? What is really going on? Oh God. Like, you can see this whole thing is an arrangement by the system to divide every one of us, to harmonize our differences. That is what makes us fight each other. These people of color coming back to give us an eye for an eye. Like, hey, if they were to go back in time, like this generation of white people, like it was the way people are making it feel as if it was them that went back in time to do all those nasty things to the blacks. No, like they were talking about it as if it was our fault. It's not our fault, neither is it the white fault. Anything that happens in the past should remain in the past. Yes, go back and find out what really happened. Like, find out what the actual fact is, but learn from it. We are supposed to go back to it and learn from it, and learn about the past, and learn from it and move forward, and try not to repeat the same mistake. What am I even saying? That is exactly what is even happening. Yes, it's happening. All these things happening in another dimension, in different dimension, but this time it's turning everything around. Like, everything I just saw here in this clip is like, it's so scary. It's so scary. It's so annoying. It's so like, hey, most of them say white people are the cause of this, white people are that. They don't know the truth about this whole slavery thing. I'm telling you, they don't know anything about it, and the way they are saying it, as in the way they are saying it, is just so annoying. Most of these people are brainwashed that the white people went to Africa to capture slaves, you know, chasing them around, and as if they were chasing them around, catching them. But no, now the movies you guys watch, most of them don't know anything. Like, so they are fighting for a lie. You guys are fighting for a lie. It's so horrible to watch. And it's really heartbreaking, guys. It's really heartbreaking. See the clip. So what is coming out of these teenagers' mouths? Like, I hate that I'm white. That's the one that is just shocking me the most. I hate that I'm white. Like, seriously, white privilege. Now. See, not everybody. See, note that everybody is struggling. We are all struggling. The whites are struggling. The blacks are struggling. Off-color people are struggling. Skin color people are struggling. Yellow, pink, red, ginger. Call them. They are all struggling. Like, oh God. I know the system doesn't favor. It doesn't favor everyone, guys. It doesn't. Because they are of different race. They just want us to fight each other. That's how I see this. They just want everybody to fight each other. Everyone to be at each other log's head. Like, how do people not realize this? How you yourself don't, you making all those things, you making people look as if they are racist. How can't you realize all these things? How can't you just sit down and see this thing from another perspective? This is such a horrible thing to say about someone you cannot punish a child for the sins of their fathers and ancestors. If we are to talk about the slavery thing, all the races did, there is no country, there is no race, there is no culture, there is no community that did not face slavery. Yes, the white people, they experience slavery. The black people experience slavery. The off-color people, they experience slavery. Those people you are calling racist, this, racist, that, they also experience slavery. Like, see, guys, at some point we were all slaves. I'm telling you, it wasn't only the white people that went to Africa to capture blacks and sell them off. Yes, the blacks themselves, the Africans themselves, they were the one that captured those black slaves for the white slaves owner or the white foreigners to come and carry, or I don't even know how I'm even going to put my English now. I don't even know how I'm going to. Oh God, honestly, everybody have their own black history. Everyone has their own history. Everyone has their own problems. Everyone has their own struggles. But this should be the least of it. See, honestly, guys, it's time to move on. Move on from your past and make a world a better place. Make your world, make your environment, make everything a better place. Come out from that prison, because it's as if you are locked in a prison, in the prison of your past. Come out of it and watch the world in another dimension. See your fellow human being in another dimension. Apart from being black or white, we are all the same thing. The same blood runs through our veins. Yes, same blood runs through our veins. See, make a world better place for our children's children. It is time to move on from racism. See, racism, it's bad. It doesn't matter if the white people or the black people are in it. It will be very, very good if people just drop it and move on and see your neighbor like a fellow human being and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Even the Bible says so. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And not to try to treat them differently like a trash they are. Because of their skin color. See, guys, we are all struggling here. To be frank, we are all struggling to make it in life. We are all struggling to make something good out of our living. We all have our personal issues, our personal problems. This should be the least of it. The sooner we realize this, the better it will be for us. And guys, do you know that Okay. Do you know Morgan Freeman? There's something he said along the line when they asked him what could he do about racism. He said, don't talk about it, forget that, and embrace human race. Yes, the only race we are to embrace is human race. Human race and heavenly race. That is the race we are supposed to embrace right now. Just like what Charlie said, do better. We can do better. We are more than this. Seriously. The whites are not entirely, it's not entirely their fault. We should all be grateful that they gave us their land. Okay, they gave people their land to stay in. Like, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Like, watch, and subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful day ahead. Bye bye.